Day 2 from Lords, and time to ask George some questions. Number 1, Pritam asks, has Josh Tongue shown enough promise to feature in the Ashes?
He probably has, actually, yeah. I think he did really well. He offered a point of difference. Bowled with control, pace, hostility on a pretty sluggish wicket. I thought he did really well, yeah. He's not first choice, but he's an option.
As a follow-up to that, Sushant asks, how much did getting Steve Smith out help Tongue's selection?
I wouldn't overplay that, you know. He did really well on the Lions tour over the winter. He's been on the radar for years. He's just been a bit injured, so I mean, sure it didn't do any harm, but I think I did their first game of the season, can't remember what it was actually, at New Road anyway, and there were loads of scouts there. You know, ECB scouts from other counties. You know, he's got skills which make him very attractive to you know, obviously to scouts, selectors and headline writers.
Hugh has been particularly keen on those in the
Hugh, our magazine editor, has been relentless.
Moving on, Jack Rule, do England have a duty to help Irish cricket improve? Should players be allowed to play in the county game, not as overseas?
Yes, Jack, yes. I think that's a really good question. Not just England, but the ICC generally. Surely it benefits everyone if everyone is stronger. And Ireland have, you know, sort of burst onto the scene a few years ago, really exciting, full of promise. And instead of helping, they've been given obstacles. And look, we often hear that there are too many first-class counties, and there's not enough talent to go around. So, I mean, it's not something I necessarily agree with, but I think there's scope to have a dispensation towards some other nations. And, you know, they're our neighbours. And I think we should help them out, yeah, and I think it would benefit English cricket. It's not thoroughly altruistic, it's developing another market. There are lots of Irish people in England as well, aren't there? So I completely agree, but the whole ethos, the whole mind frame of cricket has to change about that. It's all about self-interest and greed, as you know, and there's no sign of these sort of long-sighted, selfless decisions.
Danny asks, if Bazball is all about entertaining the fans, how does declaring on day 2 and not letting people see Stokes, Bairstow and Broad bats achieve that?
It's a legit question, isn't it? Funnily enough, Ollie Pope in the press conference just said he thought that, or they declared to be entertaining because the crowd wanted to see England bowling in the evening. There's a bit of truth to that. It was a bit of a relief, actually, wasn't it, when they declared? I didn't think the batting was that much fun. It was sort of shooting fish in a barrel a bit, wasn't it? So, yeah, I can see that from both ways. But I think it was the quickest Test innings ever in England, to put in perspective. Quickest double 100 ever in a Test in England, various records. And they did bowl well and with some excitement in the final session. So, I don't know, it's a bit of entertainment there, wasn't there?
It's like the Broads made it onto that list, even though they scored however many runs. There's people still clamouring
to see Stuart Broad bat, yeah.
Simon Tanner, when is the ICEC report coming out?
On the 12th or 13th of June, I believe. I think it's quite damning about the ECB. There's a little bit of there's a scoop for you. Just as if you thought it was going to say, do you know what, nothing to see here. They've been terrific for years.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Kazim asks, who do you think will win the World Test Championship final?
I suspect Australia or India. That's the level of insight you get here. Yeah, be one of those two. I mean, look, you probably have to say that Australia have prepared a little bit more for it. You know, they've had some players over here, and that might be beneficial, but I don't know, they're two very, very strong sides, aren't they? There's no Bumrah either. That's a bit of a blow. If I'm honest, probably Australia just about favourites, but only just.
Lastly, Tom Vickers, apart from getting a Lord's lunch, what have England gained from this test?
It's a good question actually, Tom. I mean, not masses. I mean, these players will have got some confidence, but I don't know actually. I think it's a fairly good question. I mean, the MCC have made lots of money. Not a lot. I actually don't think this was great for Test cricket. Is that a bit miserable? Is that a bit sour? But it was as big a chasm between sides as I think I've seen. I don't know that I've seen a more modest bowling attack. in Test cricket. I mean, prompt me, give me examples of other ones, but I don't think it was great for Test cricket really. And the solution is not to say, well, Ireland shouldn't play Test cricket. The solution is to say, well, let's help Ireland. The guy who asked, was it Jack, who asked the question earlier, is the pertinent question. You know, what can we do to help Ireland be better the next time? Because they seem to have regressed in the last 4 years, and that's, I think, a damning indictment of the mindset of global cricket.
What has to happen tomorrow to kind of give this more of a level of respectability to it?
Well, it's still a flat wicket. You know, there are still good batters there. Ireland, you know, a few batters need to get a score. Maybe make England bat again. I mean, we've all seen incredible games of cricket. Anything can happen. But it would be disappointing if it was over by lunchtime with a crushing innings victory. So, you know, just show some fight, show some improvement. I thought there were a few good signs this evening. Yeah, you just got to be a bit realistic about where Ireland are. I don't really blame them, I sort of blame the system.
That's it.
Cool, see you tomorrow.
Good.